Welcome back to Resh Air Radio. I'm your show host, Chris Reshitar, licensed loan officer with NFN, and we have been talking all kinds of great stuff here today in the studio with guests and expert contributors, but we're really going to focus our next segment really on with Preston Sandlin with Home Inspection Carolinas. Preston, you brought some great stuff for our listeners today. We've shared things like this before in the past. You've been a great sponsor for the last several years. We're going to talk about a fall maintenance checklist, and I'm going to hand it over to you. Tell us what this is.
Fall honey-do list.
Fall honey-do list.
Feels like summer out there.
Yeah. I know. We're getting that, I guess I can't say it, Native American summer? I guess is that the right word? I don't know what you call it. I'm trying to be politically correct. So anyway, the first one is ceiling fans. We all have those ceiling fans. We all love them. Not sure if you're aware of it, but during the different seasons, you have a reverse switch on that fan. It's usually on the side. It's just a little switch. You obviously don't want to. You want the fan to be off. You don't try to do it while it's on.
Reverse.
Yeah, like when I was in college and we would throw the tennis ball up, see who would hit. That just bad.
We don't advise of that either.
Yeah. But basically, in the summer, you want that fan blowing down, directly down, because it creates a sort of a wind chill effect that you want in the summer. You don't want that in the fall. A good way to think about this: you ever walk into a convenience store and they have that thing to keep flies, and it just completely flattens your hair?
Yeah.
That's what you want in the summer. In the winter, you want to reverse it. You actually want it to pull up and push the air towards the ceiling, and it'll come back around. They've just done all kinds of air studies with blower doors and stuff, and it's much more efficient in the wintertime. It'll save on your heating bill. So make sure that the fan is pulling air up and pushing it towards the ceiling in the winter, or in the fall you want to switch it, and pushing down in the summer when it's hot.
Perfect. All right, let's go through the next one. What else should we be doing?
Well, let's talk about the HVAC, which is an acronym for heating, ventilating, and air conditioning. You want to make sure that it's checked by a professional before you turn it on, because you're going to get one of these nights where it gets down to 40 and you're like, hey, honey, turn the heat on. And if you have, there's all kinds of heating systems. Predominantly in this area, we either have gas or heat pump. There are two, I would say the two of those probably make up 98% of the system. You have some boilers and some solar and stuff like that, but be aware that if you have a heat pump, it has heat strips in it, which is the equivalent of what's on your cooking stove. They basically come on to get it up to speed, and then once it's up to speed, they go off, and it costs a lot more money when those things are on. So that's, when you have a heat pump, you don't want to radically turn your temperature up and down, because those things will come on. But the reason I mention it, when you turn those on first time in the fall, you're going to get, it might even cause your smoke detector to go off. Dust builds up on over the summer, so you'll get a kind of a stinky smell. Should go away. your smoke detector might go off. Yeah, if you get it after the third time you turn it on, you might need to get that checked out. But get a HVAC company to give you a little bit of a tune-up, make sure it's ready to go, so you don't. And when it's really cold, they're backed up, so it's a good time to get it checked out before it gets really cold.
Great. All right. So what's the next thing on our honey-do list we should be doing for the fall maintenance checklist?
Well, it kind of goes along with that. Furnace filters. Ideally, depending on what type of filter you have, there's all different kinds. And here's a little tip for you. Take a picture of all your filter sizes on your phone and keep that on your phone, so that when you go to Lowe's, Home Depot, or whatever, or Renfro's, wherever you go, Black Hawk Hardware, I don't want to, I love them all, but buy yourself filters ahead of time, because they're a lot cheaper in bulk. You can get the hyperallergenic one, whatever. And what you'll learn about your house too, it's great if you could change it every 30 days, some are 90 days, but what you'll learn about a house is certain areas, certain filters get more dirtier than the others. Just like having a car after a while, or maybe even being married a while, you kind of know what areas pick your. But I know in my house there's it's where we live and do most of our cooking. That one gets the dirtiest. I probably have to change that one twice as much as the one up in the rec room, which really doesn't get that dirty at all. Right. So I would say every 30 to 60, 90 days, depending on the filter, change those filters, but make sure you have plenty of filters in your garage or wherever you store them.
Great.
You want to move on to water heater?
Perfect.
Yeah, water heater, you can prolong the life of your water heater by basically flushing it out. What happens, and again, two types of water heaters we have here mostly is gas and electric, but they both develop sediment in the bottom of the tank. And over time, it'll age them a little faster than they need to be. So if you look down at the bottom of your water heater, there's basically like a faucet. It's just like a hose spigot. And if you turn that on, but hold on, don't turn it on yet. What you want to do is run a hose with a washer to make sure it's completely connected. If it's in the garage, you're golden. It's a little bit trickier when you get up into the attic or somewhere like that. In a garage, you can just hook that hose up and run it out, your driveway. Basically, you're going to turn it on, and when you first turn it on, that water is going to be a little dirty because it's going to be the sediment water. Just run it till it turns clean, turn it off, and make sure you turn this thing off. And pretty tight, not so tight that you can't ever get it off again. But now, if you're in the attic or somewhere like that over living space, you're going to have to bring a 5-gallon bucket because and don't trust that catch pan. There's usually a catch pan. I never understood why there's a 5, maybe even 3-gallon catch pan for a 40-gallon water tank. Never made a lot of sense to me. But anyway, same thing. Just run it into the bucket until the sediment is cleared out, and you're good to go. And you're going to make your water heater last longer, and your bill, whether it be gas or electric, is going to be less.
Perfect.
I do have a question with that because I had heard that if you have a water heater where you haven't done that in the past, that by doing it could actually mess it up. Is that true, or is that kind of just a folklore fallacy kind of thing?
Yeah,
because I don't do it twice a year, and I'm wondering, should I start doing it now, or is it kind of like?
It's all the rust at the bottom keeping it together.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I don't think that's going to cause any damage if it's not damaged already. Now, I haven't said this in our checklist that I brought in. It says do it two or three times a year. I'm a home inspector. I've done it 4 times, and I've been in my house 10 years. So,
how about tankless, Preston?
Yeah.
I love tankless. Tankless is it costs a little bit more on the front end. The great thing about tankless is you're not having to heat 40, 50 gallons of water and have it at the ready. Not to mention, the other thing is, like where we used to live, my master bedroom is up in the opposite corner of where my garage is of the house, 2-story house. So, when you turn on the water, it takes forever. I get this complaint all the time. I turn on the water and it doesn't get hot for like 4 minutes, and I'm like, okay, let's look at this. Your water heater is here for that hot water to travel all the way up there.
Right,
It's not like electricity. Right? It takes a little time.
Yeah.
Now you can do a recirculating pump and have it at the go all the time, but then that costs money. I mean, is it that important? Or you could have a tankless where it's on demand and you're not heating water unnecessarily. Now, when they first came out, I was a little bit con on them. I'm pro now. And the reason being, they have a lot more moving parts inside, and they were a little bit difficult and broke down a lot early on. But now the technology's come a long way. The plumbers have gotten a lot better with it. It's a lot better product than it was in my time 10 years ago.
Yeah, I get some questions about them once in a while, and I don't know enough about them to give a good answer. So.
Yeah, I mean it obviously costs a lot more installation
Right.
Than a traditional one, but and again it goes to planning with you guys. Is this your forever house? Or are you going to be here 7, 8 years? I would do it, but if you're pretty sure you're going to get job transfer in 2 years, unless you can resell it for more,
Right.
Is it worth? Are you going to get the payoff? I guess.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Perfect. Well, let's jump in. Let's mention a few things on the outdoor. We got about 3 minutes left in the show, Preston.
Sure. Well, a couple of things. Gutters, obviously, in the fall,
Yeah.
we all know what that means. Leaves are gonna fall. Maybe that's why they named it that. I don't know. But I never thought about that. Random thoughts. But you got to get those gutters cleaned out because obviously what's going to happen, you're going to get rain and it's not going to be able to go down the downspouts and it's going to overflow your gutter, or worse, it's going to overflow the backside, which is going to rot out your rake board and your fascia and soffit, and that's bad. You don't want that at all. The bad thing about cleaning gutters are there's a lot of people that's been injured cleaning gutters. I mean, getting up on a ladder and cleaning those things, and like you alluded to earlier, Chris, I mean, even if you hire somebody, or do you have insurance? Because you're doing something that, you could get hurt on, and I don't want you to sue me. Here's what I recommend. Get yourself a backpack blower. They're going to be $350, $400, but they are worth it. And you can look this up on Amazon or Husqvarna or one of those places, or Echo, and you can buy the attachments. The reason I said backpack blower, because they're very powerful, And you're gonna need that, and you can hook up these multiple pipes that curl around. So basically you can stand on the ground and just blow out your I love it. You can blow out the gutters. It's gonna make a mess, but you know, you're not very likely to break your neck.
or maybe you have a friend that has one. Are you using yours this weekend?
Yeah.
That sounds like I want to try it first.
Yeah.
Preston will run it out to you.
Yeah. You probably want to wear an old hat though, because those wet, nasty leaves go everywhere. But again, you're not gonna fall off your roof doing this.
All right, we probably have time for one more real quick.
Okay, let's go with outdoor furniture. You know, we have outdoor furniture. The one thing is these cushions and stuff. You know, now it's like a lot of this outdoor furniture looks like indoor furniture, and I love it. But I learned the hard way, if you don't put those cushions away, next summer when you go to sit on them, they're just going to rip right up. So, and this outdoor furniture, depending on where you get it, it's kind of pricey. So I recommend you get some covers. If you can take all those pillows and outdoor pillows and all, if you have a place in your garage or somewhere where you can store them where the temperature is a little bit more regulated, there's no...
And they sell those
chance.
big bins too for pretty cheap
Yeah.
these days, and you pop them in there and you're in good shape.
You just want to keep, like, you know, obviously they take a lot of weather beating in the summer, but in the winter you don't want that ice and all that stuff, because you're going to have to replace them a lot sooner, and it's not cheap. So I would recommend putting the cushions away somewhere where the temperature or you're away from ice, and then cover the framework part of your outdoor furniture with a cover.
Sweet.
Awesome.
So Preston's always got great information. Again, if you have any needs at all, you're thinking about buying or selling, please use Home Inspection Carolina. Preston and his team, they will take great care of you. He always brings great information for our show, and appreciate his sponsorship.
And if you need any advice on this honeydew list, call Mike Trochet. His wife's going to put him to work.
You have a lot of experience coming up.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is when he falls off his gutter, he's got a pool to land in.
There you go.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't have any cushions anymore.
Awesome. Well, it's been a great show, guys. Thanks for everyone for joining us. And we'll be back again next Sunday, 10 o'clock on ESPN The Game. You're again listening to Ratio Radio. Thank you very much, and have a great week.